Hey y'all, Ham here. Okay, so I don't know where I'm gonna sit. Okay. So today's video is about a newly, just walking backwards, is about, okay, we all know, is about a topic that's not new, a situation that's not new, but something that recently came out very recently. Um, and it's a very controversial topic. There's a lot involved and there's a lot of sides to it, I think. At the end of the day, there's a definitive, in my opinion, a definitive like answer to this all. But I've seen some videos, like there's this YouTuber I follow, Jasmine Black, JB Navy. What's up, girl? If you're watching, probably not, ever. And she had some points about this topic as well. Now, she's coming from the mind of growing up in the black community, but she's also a stripper. She works in an environment that's very sexualized, right? So her opinions and her frame of mind might come across to some as like, what the are you saying, girl? But if you're not in an environment like that, or if you, we'll say if you are in an environment like that, you see everything from head to toe, every side to everything, because you're in a really seedy environment. No offense to strippers. A very like cutthroat, very sexualized environment, right? So her opinion, and she was disclaimer throughout the whole video, and people were still unsubscribing to her. But you know, it's a topic that can trigger people, obviously, you know, and it's the R. Kelly situation, by the way. I know it's in the title, but the R. Kelly interview, which I still haven't seen, but I've heard enough about it. I know enough about it. I lived through a lot of it. You know, I was born in 1986. So obviously this topic can trigger a lot of people. I have a young child. I'm very for the feminist movement in a very realistic way. I'm very towards peace and justice. I am very towards rights for children, rights for women, like hardcore in my heart. I'm also an incredibly realistic person, and I don't always look at things emotionally. I'm a very emotional person, but I can see things. What I value about myself is I can see myself in other people's shoes very easily. Some people just can't. They get triggered by words, and you know, I can be that way too about things. But when I step back and really think about something, I can see every side to it. So let's get into this R. Kelly thing for now. I know this is a very controversial topic. This man was recruiting young girls at high schools and stuff with his little crew, manipulating them, telling them, I'm going to make you famous. And he wasn't just sleeping with them, he was like torturing them and beating them and pissing on them and like tying them up and like all this kind of stuff. And people will say, well, these girls were saying like, oh, they knew they were what they were doing because they wanted to become famous. Like they thought they were going to become famous. Well, another thing that was being said was, you know, children don't have the ability to see the consequences of things until they're about 25. People are not able to see consequences until they're about 25 years old. It just doesn't develop in the brain. All right. And then, you know, so you see all this. And so the girls are basically almost like consenting to like going there. What they're consenting to is the fact that like they think they're maybe going to sleep with an older guy, and then all of a sudden they're going to be a model, a dancer, this or that. Okay? Yeah, that all seems innocent. Yes, that's a child's mind right there. Any grown up would be like, no. Or any adult who is aware would think to themselves, there's got to be more to this. I'm not just going to go to some guy's house and he's just not going to hand me a contract. So yes, were these children victims? Absolutely. As soon as an adult is doing something with a minor, immediately it's a victim situation. It's a molestation situation, right? They weren't consenting to being pissed on, beat, all that kind of stuff. And another thing is like, where are the parents? Why are the parents allowing, why are they like condoning it? They're like almost like pimping their kids out, thinking that, this is okay. Or they're turning their head because they think, oh, this is like, our way out, money, whatever. Yes, some of these girls may have came from a home where their parents were working 2 or 3 jobs, not home to watch them. I remember going to high school, going to junior high, and some girls who were like very like loose, walking around in mini skirts, going over boys' houses all the time. You knew who they were. But were their parents home all the time to monitor this kind of situation? Were their parents not at home flighty themselves, dating 3 or 4 guys, or 3 or 4 women? And especially if you're a victim of sexual abuse already, so these girls could have been molested when they were really little, you don't know the difference. You don't know, I can think of myself back then. Like, I look at myself at 32 years old, and I think of myself at like 14, 15, and getting like approached by boys. And it's nerve-wracking, it's anxiety-ridden, it's strange, it's new, it's different, especially when that boy is really confident and you're not. So who is the victim? Now, R. Kelly apparently was molested when he was a kid. And I see him preying on these little girls. So, anybody who's taken a human sexuality class knows that, like, when that happens to you when you're little, your sexuality is kind of stunted. Like, people who are attracted to, like, babies, children, teenagers, whatever your preference is, it's because something happened to them, most likely, that their sexuality is stunted right then and there. It's like they couldn't physically be attracted to an adult because of something that happened to them. So all these people around him who are condoning it and helping him, like, bring on these little children, which is sick, they were like feeding the monster, feeding into what his plan, I guess, essentially. And because money talks, people have money, you just listen. You have a job, and like that's I think the sick part. It's like that people were allowing him to create this world. No one was stepping up, and where the hell were the parents? And like I said, in some instances, maybe the parents weren't there. But I think in a lot of these, the parents were almost like pimping their kids out. So is R. Kelly a monster? Yeah, he is, because of the things that he did. Yeah, poor baby. Like, I see it in both sides where it's like, why are you getting yourself as a female, like, even as a teenager, like, enough to know what you're doing is probably not right, right? So that mentality. But you don't know enough, and you're not experienced enough to realize what can truly actually happen. Like, I've been, in a situation like that before. Maybe I'll make a video about it, but I've been a teenager and got involved with something I shouldn't have got involved with, and had a really bad consequence happen. And I thought that everything was cool. So, like, I can see where the teenagers are coming from. They think, like, oh, I got everything under control. I can control the situation. And at the end of the day, you can't, because you can't foresee all the things that could possibly be happening, Especially someone with that much money and power, who is literally going to hold you against your will. So basically he's like kidnapping these people. The people around him should not have been like condoning this and helping him achieve this goal of his. He's just like a strange person in general. Like, look at the videos he puts out. Like, yeah, oh, he does good R&B stuff, but like, what about Trapped in the Closet? What about his Go look up his Ethiopian New Year's Eve special and the song he sings. It goes like something like this. It goes, do you have your passport? Did you get your shots? Girl, would you like to come back with Rob to America? Who says that? Like, who sings it as a song as a New Year's Eve special in Ethiopia? Like, I don't know. Just like clearly the mentality of this person is not right. Okay. But how could these girls foresee this? Absolutely. And we can blame the parents, saying like you didn't teach your kids well, or you should have been watching your kids and not pimping out your kids and da 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 da. So it's like, who's the victim? Who's to blame? Well, clearly these children are the victim, no matter what they thought they were getting out of it, even if they thought they were going to get famous. Yeah, okay, kid goes to touch the stove. I didn't think he was going to be hot. So you blame them? No, they just don't know yet because it never happened to them yet, and they don't have enough life experience. And like this is funny talking about this topic. Like now I'm looking back at myself as a teenager. Like wow, yeah, a lot of things I got myself into. Now I was raised well for the most part. I mean I did hang out with some questionable folks that, you know, definitely were not maybe, or maybe weren't being watched by their parents, you know, and you just went along for the ride because it sounded like a lot of fun. And that's the point of being a teenager, is like weeding your way through this craziness in life. But you need a good support system, you need good parents, you need you know, almost like a strict environment, or like really good. This is why I say, like, you got to talk to your kids, you got to tell them things, tell them the truth, and don't tell them they're lying, you know? You have to be really, like, specific with things. Yeah, I don't know. I just, like, who's the victim? The kids are, no matter what they thought they were getting themselves into. The parents were being stupid and money hungry, so they're to blame. And R. Kelly is clearly to blame, you know, and his team is clearly to blame. You know, so kids who don't know what they're doing, thinking, "Oh, I'm getting," just like anything, like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to the candy shop and get all this candy," like, and it's just anything. Like kids just they don't see past, you know, all like what could possibly happen. Maybe some can, maybe some are like mature enough to, you know, kind of get it, but they're still going to put themselves in that situation because they like to take risks. As a teenager, how many weird, crazy, stupid things did you do? And how risky was it? And how much would you never do it now as an adult? You know? And parents just need to not be pimping out your kids. Like, if you need money, you go get famous. Like, I don't know what to say. And then, I don't know, R. Kelly, you're psycho, and you should have got help a long time ago. And his team should have got him into psychiatric help, because clearly he does not have the right frame of mind to be dealing with any human beings. And, you know, oh, and then the whole situation with his wife coming out, and he married Aaliyah at 15. And yeah, everything was out in the open. He wasn't, like, hiding a lot, like, especially that with Aaliyah. He wasn't hiding that, but, like, you know, doesn't make what was going on right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I still think he's crazy for doing the things he did. He's clearly wrong for doing the things he did, but victim blaming, you know, I don't know. These children were kids. Yes, was it a dumb idea? And they could clearly see, probably in their heart of hearts, know that what they were doing was probably not smart, but they did it anyway. But could they have foreseen the extent of what was going to be happening? No. R. Kelly knew, and his monstrous ways. So I don't know. I think we should all look at this as like, yeah, I don't know. Do you have your passports? Did you get your shots? Girl, would you like to come back with Rob to America? That's all I have to say. If you think that song's okay, there's something wrong with you. R. Kelly, get help. We like your music, but we don't like the way you treat people. So, I don't know. I'm sure everyone has an opinion about this. I don't know. I don't know if I gave enough of an opinion. I had phone calls going off. I have voicemails. Like, oh my God, enough. No time for myself. Okay. Love you guys. You look great today.